Been talking to Mark Williams Thomas. He's a former detective. He actually runs a company now which specialises in child protection. So first question, how do officers go about an investigation like this?
They are obviously very complex, and if you split it down into the fact that you have police and children's services, the role of the police is to establish evidence, and the role of children's services is to support the police in that, but also to support families and the extended members of the families and children. But when it comes to evidence, of course, evidence from a young child is very difficult to get.
I say a 3.5, I don't know how you said about interviewing a 3 or 4-year-old child.
Well, you wouldn't. They create a strategy as to who they can talk to and who it is appropriate to talk to. And obviously a very young child you're not going to get any evidence from. But it may well be that you can get evidence from other sources, i.e. photographs, maybe even a medical examination. And that's where they'll be focusing now. They'll be focusing not only on him, he's in custody, and I understand that he's talking to the police at present, so they'll be talking to him to establish who he's had contact with, but they'll also be examining his computer, his mobile phone, and they'll be looking into his background to see who else he has had contact with, and in particular children, of course.
Yeah. In a way, unfortunately, the very age of these young children makes them a target because they don't tend to talk about what happens to them.
No, and what we've seen certainly over the last couple of years is offenders have moved towards younger children because they are very clear now that children, the younger they are, the harder it is to get evidence from them. And we've started to see that as far as offenders targeting that age group. And traditionally, we've seen nurseries as being very safe environments, and by and large they are. There's hundreds of thousands of children go to nurseries day in, day out, and they're very safe. We're talking about this case because it is rare, but we're also talking about it off the back of the Plymouth case, which obviously is still very much live and involves a nursery. So it is about getting the balance right. It's about saying to people, nurseries are safe places, but what you need to make sure, and certainly as a parent, is that you are happy with the environment that's there. You are happy that the policies and the procedures and the safeguards are in place. And watch your child and talk to other parents there. If you reassure yourself to that degree, then you can't do anything more, and you have to allow your children to have that space.
Yeah. I mean, the people in the nursery would have had a check, a CIB check anyway, wouldn't they? But I mean, you still feel that sometimes there'll be rogue elements in there still.
Well, the thing is that offenders need access to children. And having gained access to children, they then need the opportunity. The opportunity arises by either the people within the nursery allowing the access and the opportunity unsupervised, so perhaps taking a child to the toilet on their own where the opportunity arises. So what you need to make sure that when you're in a nursery is that the opportunity isn't there for someone who has a sexual interest in children.
That's a hell of a thing to say to somebody in a nursery though, isn't it?
Well, the policies and the procedures will dictate that, because the policies and the procedures should set out that the opportunity isn't there for offenders to offend against children, because there will be two people always there. There will be other people monitoring. It is a minority, but the sad reality in this world is that we have to police the minority, not the majority.
That's Mark Williams Thomas. It's 4:40.